Did you catch what happened to Caitlin Clark? Her playoff debut turned into a nightmare when DiJonai Carrington struck her in the eye. Now everyone is wondering, can Clark bounce back for the next game? Or is her season over before it even really began?
Caitlin, could you tell us a little bit about your eye, the hit, if it affected you, how it affected you, and through the rest of the game? Thanks.
Yeah, obviously got me pretty good in the eye.
This was supposed to be Clark's big moment, the rookie sensation stepping onto the playoff stage for the first time. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. That hit from Carrington didn't just leave Clark with a bruised eye, it sent shockwaves through the entire basketball world.
She's going to face a level of racism from black players, and she's going to face a level of hostility from lesbian players because she's not on team LGBTQ. She's a Catholic, she's got some boyfriend. She's going to walk into an extremely hostile environment.
You might be thinking, it's just a black eye, right? Wrong. Clark went from averaging 20 points per game to scoring just 11. Can you believe it? This single moment might have derailed her incredible rookie season.
Honestly, I felt like I got good shots. They just didn't go down, and obviously a tough time for that to happen. I got some really good looks. I felt I had three pretty wide open threes in the first half that you usually make. So that's tough, but I felt like I battled and tried my best. Took care of the ball better than I usually do, which is a positive. But overall, coach said in the locker room, we were down 3 the first quarter, down 5 second quarter, and then lost by 3 in the third. We were right there, and I felt like we just played a crappy game. The flow of the game was really bad. I don't know if that was the referee, and I was probably partly up.
This isn't just about Clark or Carrington. This incident could change the WNBA forever. How will the league respond? What does this mean for player safety? Stay tuned, because we're about to break it all down.
The difference, this is what you pointed out, and I think this is real, and it's the real difference between men and women at our core. The women will be very jealous, and that, I think, is going to be a monster problem. I hope they get over it for the winning. Guys like to win, even if they're not the star. Well, great, we'll get a championship. Well, everybody jump on Michael Jordan's back. Everybody jump on Larry Bird's back. I don't know if that'll happen with Caitlin Clark.
You might think a black eye is no big deal for a pro athlete, but for Clark, it wasn't just her vision that got blurry. Her entire game plan went out the window. How bad was it? Let's just say her coach had to scrap their entire playbook.
I don't want to see a bunch of tatted up, angry lesbians do rollerblade on a basketball court. I don't want to see it. No one wants to see it. No one wants to see women behaving like thuggish men. I'm just sorry, that's that. That's a fact.
The numbers don't lie, and they paint a brutal picture of Clark's performance after the hit. Remember her usual 20-point average? Well, she barely managed to scrape together 11 points in this game. That's a massive 45% drop in scoring. But it gets worse. Clark's shooting percentage plummeted to a shocking 23.5%. It's like watching a sharpshooter suddenly forget how to aim.
We struggled to get stops at times, but also the clock getting messed up. It was just one thing after the next, but yeah, overall, it didn't bother me. Obviously, it didn't feel too good when it happened, but it is what it is.
But here's where it really hurts. Clark's struggles weren't just about putting points on the board. Her entire game was off balance. Those laser-precise passes we're used to seeing, they turned into turnovers. The plays that usually come so naturally to her, Clark was forcing them, desperately trying to make something happen despite her impaired vision.
We have a different set of expectations for women. And so when I watch Caitlin Clark in a college environment, when I watch women's college basketball, I don't want to see a bunch of fighting, and there's a lot. These videos of angry lesbians fighting each other, it's why I don't watch the WNBA. It's why the league has lost money for 27 straight years.
Now, you might be thinking, can't she just power through it? But basketball at this level isn't just about physical toughness. It's a game of split-second decisions and razor-sharp instincts. With one eye compromised, Clark's depth perception was wrecked. Imagine trying to thread a needle with one eye closed. That's basically what Clark was dealing with on every play.
And if the WNBA wants to continue to be a league that mimics the behavior of men, if all the women are going to tat themselves up and beat themselves up on the court, I'm not going to watch.
The ripple effect of Clark's injury spread throughout the entire Indiana Fever team. Coach Christie's sides found herself in a nightmare scenario. The game plan they'd spent days perfecting was now useless. They had to abandon their strategy on the fly, scrambling to adapt to a situation where their star player was suddenly operating at half capacity.
Caitlin, what positives do you take away from this first game? And I think in the third quarter timeout, you went to the bench, slammed the chair, and then hit a couple of shots right after that. I mean, have they cleared your head or got you going, or just frustration and things happen afterwards?
Yeah, well, I felt like my shot felt right there. That's why it's so frustrating as a shooter, when it feels so good, but it won't go down for you. That's what sucks about it. But like I said, I'm proud of our team. We battled, we fought. It wasn't pretty, but, we were right there. I think we cut it to 8.
Can you imagine the emotional toll this took on Clark and her teammates? This was supposed to be her big playoff debut, her chance to show the world what she could do on the biggest stage. Instead, she was struggling just to keep up. The frustration was palpable. You could see it in Clark's face every time a shot missed or a pass went awry.
That's why the ratings have been awful. And it's why this whole little new rookie class was greeted as a breath of fresh air, because they presented themselves as feminine women on draft night. If they want to revert to this, the violence, trust me, they're going to run us away.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This incident didn't just expose Clark's physical vulnerability. It revealed something about her mental toughness. Even with one eye swollen shut, she kept fighting. She didn't give up or take herself out of the game. That's the kind of grit that separates good players from great ones.
When you turn hyper-aggressive in any sport, when you cross the line in any sport in terms of physicality, who's normally doing that? Is it Michael Jordan? Is it Kobe Bryant? Is it Magic Johnson? Is it the most skilled player? Or do they have what they have in hockey, in basketball? Goons. Guys with limited amount of talent who it's their job to be enforcers.
Clark showed she's got the heart of a champion, but her black eye is leaving the WNBA with some serious black and blue marks. The league has to figure out how to protect its stars without sacrificing the game's intensity. Their decisions could change the future of basketball.
We've got Brittany Griner going after Anigwe, and this could get ugly.
What the hell is this? This isn't sports.
Is being held back by numerous players and now trying to throw punches.
This is Ford and Parker tied up with one another, or excuse me, Pearson and Parker.
This is just so unprofessional. Remember when we thought the biggest challenge in basketball was making a three-pointer? Well, the WNBA is facing a much tougher challenge right now. They're trying to thread the needle between protecting rising stars like Clark and maintaining the intensity that fans love. It's like trying to play defense without fouling. Sounds simple, but it's anything but easy.
If they want to revert to this, the violence, trust me, they're going to run us away. The people that had never paid attention to the WNBA, because we have two different sets of expectations from men and women.
So what's the league going to do about Carrington? There's talk of fines, suspensions, maybe even both. We've seen it before when players cross the line. Remember when Brittany Griner got suspended for that on-court scuffle? The WNBA didn't hesitate to lay down the law. But here's the thing. Every action has a reaction. If they come down too hard on physical play, are we going to see a watered-down version of the game we love? Just look at this situation.
League, we are still talking about competition where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing and you do it within the parameters of the game.
Extra elbow? This is ridiculous.
The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
She's not being a baby. This is just pure hate and assault. Now you might be thinking, can't the refs just call the game tighter? Sure, but that opens up a whole new can of worms. Imagine a game where every bit of contact gets whistled. It sounds more like a free throw contest than a basketball game, right? But on the flip side, if they let too much slide, we might see more incidents like what happened to Clark. It's a tightrope walk, and the league's balance is being put to the test.
Coach, you got pretty animated and got a technical foul early in the game, and Caitlin mentioned in her first answer about the refs, so is that something you could talk about?
Yeah, I just feel like there's some body contact, there's some, sometimes these guys are coming off screens and movements where they're just getting bodied a lot. I thought that was happening early. I thought AB was getting, not getting some calls down low that she probably should have. But at the end of the day, it's not about the officiating tonight for sure. I mean, we've got to be better defensively.
This isn't just about one game or one player. The WNBA is at a crossroads. They've got rising stars like Clark bringing in new fans and more attention than ever. But with that spotlight comes pressure. How do they promote these players and build them up as the faces of the league while also ensuring they can stay on the court?
We're talking about them maximizing their great potential. And because we bring that up and talk about what potentially might get in their way, which we do to men all the time, now we got to sit up here and watch every syllable. I resent that. And I'll leave it at that.
All right, so let me, I know we got to go to break. Welcome to the world of being a woman, Stephen A., and how you have to dance about your word choice and you have to please everybody and anybody as you navigate your being.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The way the WNBA handles this situation could set the tone for the future of basketball as a whole. We're not just talking about women's basketball. This could ripple out to all levels of the game. As one analyst put it, this incident raises bigger questions about the future of the WNBA. How do you maintain the intensity and excitement of the sport without putting your biggest stars at risk?
Because I do think she is the female version of Pistol Pete. But I also think that, like Larry Bird, there was a reason why the Celtics had the whitest roster in the league playing alongside Larry Bird. And I'm not even saying that to be funny, because like when Bill Russell was a star of the Celtics, they had the blackest roster in the NBA at that time to fit Bill Russell's personality.
Is this about race? Are black WNBA players being racist toward Caitlin?
But the clear fact is that she's going to, and this is something no one can talk about other than we'll talk about it here on this show. She's going to face a level of racism from black players, and she's going to face a level of hostility from lesbian players because she's not on team LGBTQ. She's a Catholic. She's got some boyfriend. She's going to walk into an extremely hostile environment.
Think the drama's over? Think again. The next game is where the real story begins. With Clark's status up in the air, both teams are scrambling to rewrite their playbooks. But here's the kicker. This game could change the course of the entire season. Want to know why? Let's start with the big question on everyone's mind. Will Clark even play? If she does, you can bet she'll be sporting some serious eye protection. But that's not just a fashion statement, it's a game changer. Imagine trying to nail those signature three-pointers with your depth perception thrown off. It's like playing basketball underwater.
As it relates to Caitlin Clark, who could come and make the WNBA far more relevant. I'm not going to say she's going to make them relevant, but she'll make them more relevant.
I disagree. She's actually making them relevant.
She's going to face a level of hostility that's unprecedented. I mean, because again, people think men are bad. A group of women, you just sat and listened to Cheryl Swoops just stack lie on top of misinformation. And a group of black people basically mostly just nodded their heads as if she knew what she was talking about, because Gilbert Arenas knows virtually nothing.
Now, if Clark does suit up, you can bet the Connecticut Sun will have a plan. They might double team her every chance they get because they know she's the heart and soul of the Fever. But here's where it gets tricky. That could open up opportunities for other players. It's like a chess match, but with basketballs. Speaking of other players, Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston better be ready to step up. If Clark isn't at 100%, these two will have to carry the team on their shoulders. Can they handle the pressure? That's the million-dollar question.
I mean, and then to the question before that was asked, it's not the building the hoops. Like, the Connecticut Sun is a really, really good team. They're a really good team with a lot of experience, and they know what it takes to step up to that next level, that playoff level, and that's what we're going to be, and that's who we are going to become. And so that is, they made it really difficult, and we've got to close that gap.
But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the mental game. The Fever just lost their first playoff game and watched their star player take a hit. That's got to be weighing heavily on their minds. How do you bounce back from something like that? It's not just about physical recovery, it's about mental toughness.
You know what? I'm going to start calling Caitlin Clark? Kunta Kinte. Because you got a bunch of colonizers hopping on her back, hopping on her shoulders, riding her. Caitlin Clark is the slave that's building the WNBA, and all these black women are climbing all over top of her and piggybacking her to relevance and money. She's Kunta Kinte.
And here's something you might not have considered. This game is on the Fever's home court. Can you imagine the energy in that arena? The fans are going to be out for blood, cheering their team on like their lives depend on it. That home court advantage could be the secret weapon the Fever needs. Now you might be thinking, it's just one game, right? Wrong. This isn't just about winning or losing. This game is a test of resilience. It's about adapting to the unexpected and showing the world what you're made of when the odds are stacked against you.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan,
it's been a good season.
They cannot have fucked this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.
You know, this isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore. It's about the future of women's basketball. Clark has been packing arenas and lighting up social media. She's not just a player, she's a phenomenon. But now the WNBA is at a crossroads. How do they protect their stars without losing that edge fans love?
I want to talk about this expansion deal. And again, I know you haven't watched no one's watched nearly as much WNBA basketball as I have this year. But this expansion, they're drunk on Caitlin Clark. Kunta Kinte has them drunk and thinking, hey, we can now expand. And I think the rosters are 12. They're going to add 36 more roster spots to the WNBA. This is a mistake. I watched the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is great. There's a few other players that are great, but there's a lot of bad players in the WNBA. And you start spreading this out,
Yeah, think about it. The league's response to this incident could change everything. Will they crack down hard or let it slide? Either way, it sets the tone for how they'll handle similar situations in the future. And it's not just about the rules. It's about the kind of environment they want to create for the next generation of players.
Just look at the stimulus package Caitlin Clark is. Forget Donald Trump. She's already creating black jobs. Oh my God.
So here's the million-dollar question. Can the WNBA find that sweet spot? Can they keep the intensity while ensuring their biggest stars stay on the court? The answer could reshape women's basketball as we know it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more updates.